I was supposed to be nice. They say something happened to me when I got shot. I became nice. And when you're dealing with these people, they're very dangerous people. When you're dealing with them, you can't be too nice. You really can't be. So if you don't mind, I'm not going to be nice. Is that okay?
There you have it, folks. After a Republican National Convention where Donald Trump at least attempted to give this air of a changed man, an individual who's been traumatized by an assassination attempt, who's trying to unify the country. No, now all gloves are off. He's freaking out over Kamala Harris and how much enthusiasm there is around her after, of course, Biden dropped out of the presidential race. And so, not nice anymore, not nice.
Yeah, Anna, did anyone predict this happening?
Yeah, this is the real reason why Cenk wanted to do this story. So let's not waste our time and immediately go to Cenk's prediction. Go ahead, let's watch.
They're constantly pushing this changed man after the shooting. He magically completely changed. Could that be that moment be traumatic enough to create significant change? It's possible, but in a 77-year-old, less likely, and Donald Trump, very, very unlikely, right? So that's the image they're trying to put out. It's smart, but at the end of the day, Donald Trump's gonna be Donald Trump. You cannot contain him for 4 months. Even if he's able to contain himself in a pre-written speech here by his staff, etc. The minute we're done with this convention, tick, 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 until he's back on True Social going, these Democrats, and they're destroying our country, and I hate them, and somebody should do something about it, and look at what they did to me, and look at what they did. So that's my guess. Let's see.
Look, guys, there are predictable patterns here. So this one's pretty much a no-brainer. So I don't get a lot of credit for this one. So, but his team, his campaign team, thought, no, we're going to contain him for 4 months. That's why every speech at the convention, and I'll tell you my favorite in a second, was like, oh, behind the scenes. You'd never believe how kind Donald Trump is. Yeah, you're right, I wouldn't believe it. And this is like the Biden team going, behind the scenes, you should see how young he is. No, they're exactly who we think they are. But they wanted to say after the shooting, he's a changed man. And as you'll see in a longer version of that clip, he's like, he can't stop saying things that are at the top of his mind. He's like, they wanted me to say it, I wouldn't. Of course you can't contain Trump. Of course he's gonna say the meanest, craziest things ever. That's who he is.
Yeah, I prefer my politicians to have a smile on their face as they're aiding and abetting a genocide in Gaza. Like they're much better. They're much better. But no, I get what you're saying. Like he's just outwardly out of control, right? Whereas most traditional politicians, they have this, they have the pleasant demeanor, the professionalism, the stateswoman-like behavior. And then behind the scenes, they're collecting cash, they're making paper, right? They're taking the lobbyist money, much like Trump. Trump does that as well.
But Anna, that's the thing with Trump, right?
Yeah.
Hey, don't scroll away. Come back. Because before the video continues, we just want to urge you to lend your support to TYT. You power our honest reporting. You do it at tyt.com/team, and we love you for it. So whatever ills that the Democratic Party has, Trump has it twice as much. So the two that Anna just mentioned. So on Israel, they're now attacking Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party for not kissing Netanyahu's ass enough, right? We have that later in the show. And Trump took $200 million from Sheldon Adelson. He's trying to take $100 million from Miriam Adelson and give Israel the West Bank, et cetera. So way worse. Like you can't imagine almost anything worse than aiding and abetting a genocide until you get to Trump saying, not enough, finish them, right? And take whatever land you want, who cares? And then he called Biden as an insult a Palestinian. Okay, and then on corruption, he's like, hey, oil executives, handy's in the corner if you give me money, right? Come on, man, he's asking for $1 billion from the oil executives and he says, I'll give you anything you want, tax cuts, and who's gonna pay for it? The average American's gonna pay for it. So he's twice as bad on every issue that the Democrats are awful on. And then on top of that, he adds in, he's a lunatic. So.
No, he adds in showing us exactly who he is by not pretending to be a kind, statesman-like individual, right?
Well, because he can't help it.
And let me be clear, I'm not giving him kudos for that. I'm just saying that Donald Trump creates a lot of spectacle, and that drives a lot of negative media attention
I
toward
see what
him,
you're saying.
which drives me crazy because there's like this pretending that he is like particularly horrible when you have all sorts of politicians, not just Democrats and Republicans, who engage in all sorts of terrible policies, who take bribes from all sorts of nefarious figures and carry out policies that go against the best the best possible outcome for the American people, but actually ends up being the best outcome for the nefarious figures that are bribing them. Like that's the thing that drives me crazy about the way the media covers in general. Obviously, I'm not giving you specific examples, but you can tell, like Trump immediately attracts the negative media attention, whereas other politicians who might literally engage in the same policies that he champions don't get the same negative media attention because they have that air of professionalism.
Yeah, so that also cuts both ways. I totally get what you're saying, which is don't let Trump off the hook. He's guilty on all these fronts, right? But when a politician, Republican or Democrat, does the same exact thing, but says it in a smoother way and in a more refined, intellectual way, then mainstream media melts and it's like, oh my God, what a wonderfully fake politician. Oh, there's so, but wait a minute, they both have the same policy, which is give Israel all the money, don't ever question them, do as you're told. So, okay, our point isn't Trump is better. Our point is be careful of all politicians and look at their actual policies and don't get tricked like mainstream media just on their presentation.
Yes,
right.
That's exactly
right.
But
now the other side of that coin, Anna, though, is also interesting, which is that MAGA gives Trump too much credit for honesty when they mean a different word that sounds very similar but isn't, which is he's authentic. He's authentically Trump. He can't help but be Trump.
True.
Right? But he's not honest. There's a difference between the two. So, for example, when he says, "Oh, the election was stolen," he knows the election wasn't stolen. He told some people internally that it wasn't stolen, etc. Right? That's why they needed the fake electors. He knows all that, right? So, but he goes, "They were so unfair to me. Stop this deal," right? And so it's not true, but eventually, by the way, there's even a chance that he gets himself to believe it. So, there was mules, and remember, he's a conspiracy theorist. So you could be nuts and you could be lying, but you could come across as authentic. And what would be amazing, and we're still looking forward, I think Bernie does do this actually. A politician who's actually authentic and honest.
yeah, he might be the only one.
He might be the only one, yeah.
But Trump went on during this rally to attack Kamala Harris. So let's just watch a little more of that.
So now we have a new victim to defeat. Lion Kamala Harris, Lion, L-Y-I-N apostrophe. The most incompetent and far left vice president in American history. For 3.5 years, Lion Kamala Harris has been the ultra-liberal driving force behind every single Biden catastrophe. She is a radical left lunatic who will destroy our country. If she ever gets the chance to get into office, we're not going to let that happen.
Biden catastrophe.
Yeah.
Lion Kamala sounds like he's saying lion as in rawr, lion.
That's why he had to spell it.
I know.
L-Y-I-N apostrophe. Okay, look, come on, guys. The way that Trump says things is hilarious. You got to acknowledge that. I don't know that he intends it to be hilarious, but
I doubt it. Yeah.
Biden. And my new favorite is him pronouncing JD Vance's wife's name, Usha. Okay. Never just Usha. It's always Usha. Okay, like Norway. He's such a weirdo. Anyways, but it's funny. It's funny. So look, I wish Kamala Harris was far left, ultra liberal. Where, how, right? So they're trying to invent this thing, and ironically, some of the left is helping them. Everybody, like both Trump and the far left, are pretending now that Kamala Harris is some sort of progressive champion. Show me a policy.
Yeah, it is amazing to see it, to be honest with you, from the far left, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about the same group of people who couldn't stop like just viciously attacking her during the 2020 primaries because she was a prosecutor. Kamala the cop, Kamala the cop, Kamala the cop. And now it's like, no, we are coconut pilled and we love her and she's amazing and she's gonna save us from from Donald Trump. Okay.
So good news for you, Anna. All you gotta do is become a Democratic politician and all of a sudden the far left will enjoy how much of a cop you are.
Yeah, I'm not interested in anyone enjoying me. I am who I am, okay?
Well, that's certainly true. Okay, you get authentic and honest with this one.
Yeah.
So look, back to the main point. 55% of this country hates Donald Trump. And whether you like it or not, whether you think that's a great stat or a terrible stat, you could choose not to believe it, it doesn't matter. Every poll, 55%, saying, I don't want any part of Trump. So all we needed was a new candidate. And I said that, you know, I said it hundreds of times because you just I said, pick any random Democrat and you all of a sudden will have the lead from no chance. And the reason is because 55% of the country hates Donald Trump. So it's not gonna take some sort of legendary FDR figure to beat Donald Trump. The person who's gonna beat Donald Trump is Donald Trump. You just gotta get out of his way. And so Biden couldn't get out of his way, he's walking too slow. And now Kamala Harris, not only getting out of his way, but doing a pretty good job of, rabbit punching him every once in a while, and it's driving him a little crazy. And this, by the way, I like some of Trump's nicknames. I think they're goofy and hilarious, and some are stupid and awful, but this one, not a winner. Yeah, Anna's right. It sounds like she's a lion, as in a champion, king of the jungle, etc. And then if
lion with an apostrophe.
If you have to spell the nickname, it's not gonna work.
Are you losing your touch, Trump? Are you losing your nickname?
And why lying? I mean, she's not particularly known for lying. Like it's more than any other politician. No, total fail. I bet he changes it.
He will. I think he's A/B testing.
Yeah, that's right. Except, you know what? I was wrong that, note that for the record, Mr. Prediction. I thought he would change from DeSanctimonious because that was like the worst nickname ever.
That was really bad.
But he stuck with it the whole way. I thought he was gonna go Ronnie Meatballs, but.
Ronnie Meatballs was fantastic.
Yeah, well. Yeah. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.